The famous angry Rick, the bloodthirsty Rick, the Rick who used the famous red machete. Well, do you know the gigantic story behind this red machete that Rick used seasons ago on The Walking Dead? Well, there's an episode that tells the whole story of this machete until it reaches Rick's hands, leaves Rick's hands, and where this machete is, where this machete end up. Well, if you want to know everything here about this story, stay here in this video and let's go. Hello everyone who watching this beautiful channel, my name is Victor and I'm back to talk about another The Walking Dead story. Yeah, talk about The Walking Dead universe again, because you guys love when I make some videos about the web episodes, and this one is another one. Yeah, in The Walking Dead there's a specific episode just to tell the story about a machete. It's crazy, but it's very interesting. It's a deep story, and let's explain it, but first don't forget to check the like in this video, it helps me a lot with the promotion. Also, don't forget to subscribe in this channel, and also thank you for your support with my English, thank you for your feedback, I'm trying to practice and improve it. Let's keep going, let's go to the video. Here's the thing, The Walking Dead Red Machete. This is the name of the web episode that we are going to talk about here today, which is one of the shortest ones, but is one of the ones that has the most events. It goes a long way in story to explain about this famous machete that we know from The Walking Dead. And an interesting thing is that this one, this web episode is one of the most recent ones that was released. Unlike the others that were released in the first seasons of The Walking Dead or to the first season of Fear the Walking Dead to promote this one was released to promote the 8th season of The Walking Dead in 2017. But come on, for us to explain the reference and analyze, we have to come here from the beginning. How does the story of this famous red machete begin? Can we say? This web episode starts showing where it was at the beginning of the outbreak, inside the package, a little box there. That's exactly how it started in the apocalypse, until someone went there desperately to kill zombies, take it to be used, which is exactly what we see at the beginning of this web episode. One detail is that this episode is totally without dialogues, there's no conversation, there's no people talking here. We can hear something, but it's just scream something, otherwise we doesn't have dialogues. We can only see scenes summarizing the event, which makes it much more dynamic. But let's go. We see a desperate survivor, he's fighting a zombie, attacking him there, and he's crazy, trying to open the package of this machete to be able to catch and kill the zombie with it. The detail is that apparently this is the very beginning of the outbreak, which people didn't have much knowledge about the zombies yet, and that's precisely what makes this character die. He takes the machete out of the package without knowing much about the zombie issue. He sticks the machete in the zombie's belly, thinking he will kill him, which basically not happens. Precisely for this reason, he stays calm, let his guard down, and the zombie attacks him again. The guy didn't know that to kill zombies, he needed to hit him in the head, and the guy dies. And here we see, in all this, the situation is assisted by this girl here, named Mandy, her younger sister named Alyssa, and an older guy here, David. He's clearly the father of the two girls. After the death of the first guy, they take the machete to use. This machete happens to belong to the older sister, Mandy, and then we see what their life is like after that. Several days pass, apparently, in which Mandy is always there training with this machete to be able to kill, while her younger sister doesn't train, she likes to listen music, she's quieter. And in the midst of this, we see the safe and quiet days passing and the supplies running out. The food actually runs out, and they are finally forced to go a new search for supply. There we see some somewhat blurred images of lower quality in which we have the characters somewhere advancing when suddenly the younger sister, Alyssa, is pulled by the hair by a zombie. She's taken by surprise, and yeah, she ends up dying, and Mandy can't prevent the girl's death, and we are cutting to a scene in which they start to prevent this type of situation. Mandy's hair is being cut by David with the use of the machete itself, that the girl died because of her hair, and we have the scene of them writing there on the grave the name of the girl where she was buried. Something very sad, but it is shown that the time passed and they continued traveling. Only the two of them and follow. We see that they are evolving in the survival practices, they are eating, keeping well. Mandy herself keep training with the machete to get better and better in the fight. There's even her name writing in the machete, which is what she leaves marked. But then a new problem begins. At a certain point, they will set a trap for the house that they are, in case survivors try to attack there. They set set a trap with a live zombie, and it's just at that moment when David is preparing the zombie there, you know, with the hope arresting, they are preparing the trap that the zombie lets go a little from the rope and ends up reaching David's arm, you know, biting. An accident happens, which gives a lot of idea, you know, because of the scene that she cuts off his arm. It gives us the idea that she tried to save her father. But soon we see that something sad has happened. It cuts to a scene where her father is already buried. There next to Elisa, the little girl. She buried him herself. And then the episode shows us that she's alone, but then she already has a problem, you know. Suddenly, in another day, the house where she is invaded by survivors. She can see them approaching and hides inside the house where she is. After all, the survivors don't find her, but looking through the crack where she is hidden, she can see that they take the machete away. That's when we start the great journey of this machete until it reaches Rick's hands. Later in the sequence, we see one of the survivors there who was robbing the house, who kept the machete. He was the one who found it. We see him cleaning the machete and wrapping a protective tape around the handle of the machete, which is the red tape, but he has a very stupid oversight. In the scene, he's listening to the songs that Mandy's own sister heard. He doesn't notice a zombie coming there through the forest. This zombie suddenly surprises him and he makes the same mistake as the survivor from the beginning. He sticks the machete in the zombie's belly, which ends up not killing, causing the zombie to kill him. And that's where we go on a very interesting journey, one of the most different perspectives we see in the universe of The Walking Dead. The journey of the machete for many days, maybe months. The zombie that killed the guy. It stuck in her belly as she wandered away, walking for a long time through the forest and several places with this machete nailed. We see her wandering day and night at various points until we get to a great connection there with the main show, The Walking Dead. Who is the first person who finds the zombie and takes the machete? Precisely Joe. Yeah, the leader of the biker group, famous from the season 4, one of the big problems that they faced after the prison. Even before after arriving at Terminus, it is shown that Joe himself finds the zombie walking, kills it, and takes the machete for him, the red machete. So soon we see him and his group heading towards the big point they were at the time, which is Terminus. We see the Terminus signs, we see that they were going maybe even with a hope for it. This web episode, as short as it is, you can understand more about the story of this group, which we don't see so much in The Walking Dead, because we see more of their evil and his ability. Even though he had the machete there, we see that Joe passed by people and did a lot of evil. For example, seeing this guy fighting several zombies, him with several men being able to help, he just ignored it, let the guy die. We see the members of his group pulling a resident from a cabin in the forest, finishing him off while he just waits, rests there alone. But that's when the episode shows us the last event they faced before meeting Rick's group. We have the machete standing there. They camped in the forest. When two survivors try to loot them, rob them, they sneak in, but they soon realize and react. They take the two survivors, most likely end up killing them. But the big point of agony of this episode is that it shows that Joe, he cuts off an arm of one of those people on purpose. One of his henchmen holds it there for him to cut, and we cut this part of the episode itself for the summary. At this moment, we see just some scenes like from the comics, a summary to us of everything through an animation. In the web episode itself, we see the moment when Rick fought against Joe's group. Rick, who ended up killing Joe in the end of season 4, we saw it in the main show, biting him in the region of his neck, and it was from that moment on that the machete became Rick's. At that time of the bloodthirsty Rick, and all that, directing us to the most sinister events of The Walking Dead. We have the representation at the time about the church and Father Gabriel, when the people from Terminus try to attack them after a while, and in the end, it ends with Garrett, the leader of Terminus, being killed by Rick in the church, one of the best scenes of The Walking Dead without mercy. And then we have some more scenes that we see in the show. When they arrive in Alexandria, that's when we see a new fate that this machete took later. Here is seen the machete in Alexandria Armory, which was where weapons and everything used to be, and it was precisely there the first place that Negan and his group went in the beginning of the season 7. When he arrived and take control of Rick's group, he started to take half of everything he had, half of supplies, weapons, ammunition, and everything, and it is explained that the saviors took the machete. There we can see the red machete with the saviors. saviors. It is shown that the machete was taken to the sanctuary, Negan's base. And then we went back to real scenes. We moved from animation to some live action, leaving this summary to go to new scenes. There's some points that we don't know, what we haven't seen, the final destination. We can see here, apparently, there in the group of saviors, a person making weapons from the arsenal available to a person who is there in the group. I don't know if it was someone who was arrested and such, or if it's simply someone who is a saviors member. But in the end, he takes this machete and we can see a scene that looks like he's running away, as if he had escaped from the saviors. It shows that he faces the problems he has to be able to find food, all there still with the machete, until in the end it is kind of implied that they found him, maybe the saviors themselves. It is shown that he gets shot there out of nowhere and just drops dead, while the machete that fell along with him remained stuck there in the middle of the forest, and this time for a long time. From here it shows that days apparently have passed weeks, perhaps months. We see several survivors who passed by the path there while the machete was there. They didn't notice, they didn't take it. Several stories that happened, several herds of zombies that passed, until it focused on the present, on the now. What was the final destination of this famous red machete? It is cut to a scene in which a person arrives and pulls the machete out of there finally, after a long time. And when the person is revealed, we see that it is Mandy herself from the beginning of the episode. The girl who lost her father and sister. It is shown that she stayed alive after a long time. She sees the machete she apparently remembers, looking very much like the machete she picked up a very long time ago. When she takes the tape off, she sees her own name written, proving that it is her own machete from the beginning of everything. It left her hand for a long time through several places until it returned to her hand. There, you know, the episode shows us in the sequence that she kills the zombies that approach, uses it very well, showing that it's still working. It's even shown that she kills from the head correctly until we go to the end. It is shown that she returns to the house there where everything happened at the beginning. She reveals the belongings and everything that was there that they left behind. In the middle of this path, we have a sinister scene where a zombie surprises her. She fights for her life and everything else. She ends up killing the zombie, and finally we have her totally tired, apparently deciding to leave. We don't know where, but what she does last is stick the machete in the grave there where her father and sister is. It ends like this. It shows us this was the final destination of this machete, so it still exists in the universe of The Walking Dead. If someone find out where's the house and everything, they could find it again. And the other point about the girl, it's not proven that the girl was beaten, not even that she died. She just leaves. So it's another person from the web episodes who stayed alive in the end, even alive longer into the apocalypse. And also the end of this web episode happens in a timeline after the war against the saviors, when Rick and his group faced them. So it would be possible that this girl is still alive in the universe of The Walking Dead. Although I don't think they will ever show her, unless they want to bring her to some continuation like Tales of the Walking Dead, which they will do later more. But like, we have to wait. There's the same point as the other web episodes. I think there are some other characters in this universe that are more interesting for them to work with there, especially because her and her family are not the protagonist of this story. The protagonist is the red machete. This red machete was used by many good people, bad people, and in the end it came back to the same hand. Go write in the comments what you think about this story, what you think about these web episodes. If you like more stories I will make here, so don't forget to subscribe in this channel so you don't miss it. Don't forget to check the like in this video, it helps me a lot with the promotion. Thank you for watching this video, I'll be back soon, and bye!